If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Well, good evening, Glue Troopers, and I want to thank everyone who made the live stream last night. We had a great time. Since we had been 2 weeks without one, I let it go a little past the normal 2-hour mark. Also want to thank Jim Keeler for joining us, and of course, as always, Steve and Ken. And I, of course, as you probably surmised, spent a lot of the day getting more stuff moved over to the house, getting trash taken out, and wow, you really don't know how much you've accumulated over 20 years until you start cleaning it out. And today, this morning, we started with the attic. And remember that these boxes have boxes inside them. So, like Russian nesting dolls, I can't believe how many kits I've built over the past 20 years. I finally picked out some models that simply, they're too far gone. They're going to hit the trash. That's what's going to happen. Now, let me explain. A lot of these kits I built 15, 20 years ago when I wasn't, well, for lack of a better way to phrase it, as serious about it as I am now. And looking at them now, they're pretty rough builds. And also, even under glass, sitting in storage for 15 or 20 years, the decals have peeled, flaked off, dried up. The like water marks on them, even rat poop and stuff. I mean, even under glass, sitting out in the shed where there's not full-time climate control and everything, they've deteriorated pretty badly. And I look at the space I have left and everything, I'm like, you know what, there's a point in time, and just do it, Max, just do it. So some of them went in the trash. And it's kind of weird in a way. You look back and go, so this is how I built models 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. And you see that the more recent builds are the ones you tend to keep because, you know, you've learned over time, you're putting a little more effort into it. And, I mean, I still had fun building them, that's what matters, but I'm robbing a lot of them of, you know, the things we always need, like wheels and props and crew members and people figures and that stuff. But you're like, you know, this isn't worth saving, and into the trash they go. And in most cases, I have the same kit again that I can do a nicer job on, or a updated version. I'm not throwing away any real vintage kits or anything like that. These are all just, you know, 80s, 90s repops or later that I did a mediocre job on. But anywho, it's a little cathartic in a way. And I'm not throwing away any of the stuff that I brought from the old house where my brother built them back in the 80s or 90s. All the real old builds, which are actually in surprisingly good condition. Because then again, they've mostly been under glass. Those I'm holding on to, if no other reason, nostalgia. But the more and more I take the TARBIS apart, you know, the more you're like, wow, you know, there's so many memories in here. Well, my wife watched the live stream last night, and because a lot of the comments you guys left and some of the emails I got, she really started to understand that the TARBIS has become a character in its own right. It's become part of Max's model. So there's a very good possibility, very good, that after we move, there will be TARBIS 2.0, bigger, stronger, faster, and fully operational. But that's in the future. In the meantime, my office will have to do. And speaking of which, I tried something some folks have told me how they moved their models and sent some pictures. So I tried something. Some of the styrofoam that the RCs came in had large protected void areas in it, so I tried putting a lot of the models in those to transport them, and with the exception of the B-47 tail gun and I think an antenna here or there, it worked pretty well. And so although the island of misfit and damaged toys is still growing, I'm getting a repair queue set up. So once we do get moved in, the first job will be to fix all the stuff I've broken. But I mean, hey, that's half the fun, right? So that is where we are with that. And boy, I have filled up the recycle bin and the trash. It'll take a couple of trash cycles to get rid of all the junk. But the big thing was clearing all the boxes out of the attic. And wow, I mean, it filled up the van. It was just amazing. Whoa, that's a lot of stuff. And but then again, it's also a reminder how much fun you've had over the years. So I'll keep you guys posted as things develop. And just a reminder, Wednesday I go back to work, so there'll be 9 days with no content while I go to work, fly the 5-day, and I also have the 3 days of training following that. So I'll be face down, elbows up in the books for all that. Well, that's where we're at, guys. I hope you're having a wonderful evening, and we'll talk at you later. And as always, model on.